Hello everyone, my name is Bekon Sinikaka. Welcome to my YouTube lecture channel as I discuss on business policy and analysis of cases. Business policy and analysis of cases is a major and capstone course for those in the Faculty of Management Sciences. The course seeks to expose students to theoretical simulations and practical-based knowledge on how to design, formulate, implement, and analyze business policies in real-world situations so that as prospective managers and future captains of industries, they can be able to mitigate and address the challenges that characterize a typical business organization, most especially in contemporary social formation. Before we proceed to the subject matter of today's discussion, I would like to notify you that subsequently I'll be dropping videos as well as series that will capture the varied topics associated to this course so that in the end you have a broader understanding on what business policy and analysis of cases is. To that extent, I will also appeal that you share this video, you like the video, comment, ask your questions, and then subscribe to our channel. Now, let's proceed to today's discussion, which is structured into 5 parts. Firstly, we'll look at the introduction, which will capture the meaning and concept of business policy. Secondly, we look at the characteristics of effective business policy. Thirdly, we look at the levels of management involved in policy formulation and implementation in an organization. Fourthly, we look at the major terms associated with business policy and strategic management. And lastly, we look at how to design a business policy. Let's look at the introductory aspect of it. Firstly, we have to understand what a business organization is. A business organization is seen as an association of people working in a structured and coordinated manner, wherein men, material resources, financial resources, and other valuable resources are mobilized, harnessed, and explored to achieve a specific goal and objective. Business organizations can come in different forms, such as sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability companies, corporations, amongst others. It can further be categorized into public organizations as well as private organizations. From this brief definition given on the concept of business organization, we can see that every organization, whether it is private or is public, has a specific goal and objective which they intend to achieve. And this goal cannot be achieved without a policy framework to serve as a mechanism to regulate the activities and conduct of employees in the organization so that their responsibilities will be in line with the objective, goals, and values of the organization. Without a policy framework to regulate these activities, the organization will not be able to attain success because individuals working in that organization will work and operate in an arbitrary manner, wherein their decisions will be based on their emotions, their perception, and sentiments, prejudice, without allowing objectivity to occupy their mind. So we can see that if individuals in the organizations allow prejudice, sentiments, and shared sentiment to occupy their mind at the workplace, you see that the organization in the end may not be able to achieve their intended goals. So there needs to be a policy framework to align the conduct and activities of individuals with the already established goals and values of the organization. A business policy serves as a framework to give the organization a meaning, a purpose, a direction for the organization to navigate. It serves as a compass for the organization to navigate to success. Now, as a geologist, They utilize the services of a compass to be able to navigate through unfamiliar terrain and also to be able to locate rock layers as well as other valuable resources. For a pilot, they use compass to be able to navigate through the airspace corridor. So the same thing a compass does to a pilot, the same thing a compass does to a geologist. That is the same thing a business policy does to a business organization. Now, take for instance this analogy. A boat that is floating in a water without somebody to paddle the boat. You see that the boat will be moving in a spiral direction without any specific direction. The boat will continually turn without any specific direction. That is what will happen to an organization that doesn't have a business policy. The organization will continually move in an uncoordinated manner. They may not be able to achieve their intended goals. They may not be able to achieve efficiency. They may not be able to achieve consistency. So, business policies serve as a mechanism to streamline the activities of individuals in the organization in line with the objectives of the organization. If you have any question, kindly go to the comment section and ask your question, and I will be readily available to answer this question at any time. Business policies come in different forms, such as Code of Conduct Policy. Code of Conduct Policy is a form of policy that seeks to address certain issues in the organization, such as attendance, such as dress code. An organization can decide that, okay, for us to achieve efficiency, we have to specify the time that our employees should come to work and the time they should leave. So if there is no policy regulating attendance, individuals in that organization can decide to come to work at any time. And you know that that will be very detrimental to the overall success of that organization. So there needs to be a policy to regulate when individuals come to work and when they leave home. Also, they can design a policy on dress code. If you go to the bank, you see that those working in the bank dress corporate to distinguish themselves from the members of the public. Sometimes they have a peculiar uniform which they put. So that is a policy that is initiated by that bank to distinguish themselves from the general public. Now, from this foregoing discussion, you see that without a business policy, an organization may not be able to succeed. An organization may not be able to achieve the original goal that necessitated its formation. So, the role of business policy to the overall functioning of an organization cannot be downplayed nor underestimated. Let's move to the next part of our discussion, which is the characteristics of effective business policy. For your business policy to be effective, we are going to outline the characteristics, the things you need to observe while formulating your policy. Firstly, we look at documentation. Since business policy is an important article of an organization, it needs to be documented. It needs to be codified so that the organization can be able to make reference to the document, the policy at any point in time they deem it fit. If the policy is not codified, the organization cannot be able to make reference to it. That is why it is advisable that organizational policies, business policies, shouldn't be made verbally. If you make it verbally, you cannot make reference to it. So your policies needs to be documented. It needs to be codified in a document so that you can make reference to it when need be. The next one is flexibility. What this means is that when you are initiating your business policy, you should make your business policy to be very flexible, such that when situations arises most especially those situations that are beyond your control, those circumstances that are beyond your control, when they manifest, your business can easily adjust to them without having any major setback. The next one is achievability and realization. What this means is that when you're setting a business policy, you should be able to set policies that are achievable. You should set policies that are realizable, policies that you can realize. You shouldn't set policies that are too ambiguous, policies that you cannot be able to achieve. And when setting these policies, you should consider the amount of resources you have available, the human resources you have available, the financial resources you have available. So when you take cognizance of these factors, you'll be able to set policies that you can be able to achieve. If you don't take into cognizance of these factors, you set your policies and the policies will be stalled halfway. You cannot be able to achieve the original intention of the policy. So you should set policies that are achievable, you should set policies that are realistic. The next one is you should do periodic review and updates of your policies. What this means is that regularly you should review your policies, you should update them so that it can be able to meet up with current trends. Now, we exist in a society that is dynamic, that is evolving. Culture is changing, technology is changing, the environment is changing. So, with this dynamism, you should be able to initiate policies that you can easily review, you can easily adjust to meet up with these changing situations. For instance, now we are having evolution of technology. Companies are applying artificial intelligence to carry out their responsibilities. And then, if you don't meet up with this trend, you'll be operating in an analog situation. And you know that that can be detrimental to the overall success of your organization. So, you should be able to review your policies all the time to know the current trend, to meet up with current trend, to know what is happening globally. The next one is specificity and clarity. What this means is that when you're setting your policies, you should be very specific and clear. You should not use terms that are too ambiguous so that the target audience of your policies can be able to understand, they can be able to decode the original intention of your policies. So you should be very clear and specific so that your policy can be able to address the original intention that necessitated the formation. Let's move to the next part of our lecture, which focuses on the levels of management involved in policy formulation and implementation. Basically, we have three levels of management involved in policy formulation and implementation. Firstly, we have the top management level. Secondly, we have the middle level management. And lastly, we have the lower level management. The top management level are those who are regarded as the CEOs. They are regarded as the vice president, the directors in an organization. They are the ones who are directly involved in setting organizational goals. They are the ones who are directly involved in strategic management as well as planning of the organization. They formulate these policies and pass it down to the lower levels of management. So, in local parlance, we regard this set of individuals as the oga at the top. So they are the ones who are involved in the planning, the formulation of policies. They are also involved in the implementation process through allocation of resources to the different segments that are involved in the daily operation of business activities. Let's look at the next level of management, which is the middle management level. The middle management level, they are the ones who are regarded as regional managers. They are the ones who are regarded as heads of department. They are the ones who mediate between the lower management level and the top management level. They are the ones who communicate the policies that have been initiated and established by the top management level to the lower management level. They are also involved in the policy implementation process by ensuring that the resources that have been allocated by the top management level are utilized effectively. Let's look at the next one, which is the lower management level. The lower management level are those who are regarded as group leaders. They are the ones who are regarded as team heads. They are the supervisors. They are the ones who are directly involved in the field, in the day-to-day running activities of the business organization. They are regarded as the field marshals. They are directly involved in general operations of the business. They interact directly with the customers. They generate feedback from the field. They gather feedback from the field and send it back to the top management level so that the top management level can know what the demands that their customers are making, and they'll be able to adjust to meet with that demand and requirement. Now, each of these level of management is very important to the overall functioning of an organization. So you cannot afford to undermine any of these levels of management. These levels of management is like a pyramid whereby authority flows from the top down to the bottom. Although you cannot afford to undermine any of these levels of management. So every of the level of management is very important. Let's move to the next part, which talks about the major terms associated with business policy and strategic management. Oftentimes, we have observed that people mix up these words: mission statement, objective statement, vision statement, without giving a clear meaning to these different terms. I am going to clarify that today. Firstly, let's look at what mission statement is. Mission statement simply means the objectives, the goals of the organization. When an organization is established, they usually have a goal necessitating their formation. They have an objective necessitating their formation and establishment. So it is that goal, that objective that necessitated the establishment of that organization that constitute what is regarded as a mission statement. The next one is vision statement. Vision statement is simply a statement that describes what an organization intends to achieve in future. It might be a 5-year plan, it might be a 10-year plan, it might be a 20-year plan. So this vision statement periscope and projects into the future what the organization intends to achieve. The next one is strategic objective. Strategic objective simply means the specific objectives and goals of the organization. And these specific objectives and goals are derived from the mission statement. So the mission statement is splitted into sub-variables. Those sub-variables are what is regarded as the strategic objective of the organization. The next one is key performance indicators. Key performance indicators are simply the measurable variables which the organization have identified in order for them to checkmate whether they have been able to achieve their specific objectives over time. So these key performance indicators seeks to understudy or to know whether the organization has been able to achieve the goal which they set. The key performance indicator can check whether the organization has been able to achieve objective 1, if they have been able to achieve objective 2, if they have been able to achieve objective 3 or not. If they have not been able to achieve this objective, they quickly proceed and move back to the drawing board and make adjustments. So these are the major terms that are associated with business policy and strategic management. Lastly, we are going to look at how to design a business policy. This is a very important part, so listen appropriately. Firstly, we'll look at identification of problem or purpose. Before you design a business policy, you have to understand the problem in the organization. Before you design a business policy, there may be a problem in that organization which has been bothering your mind, which has been occupying your mind. It might be the issue of attendance, that okay, late coming, that okay, employees have been coming late at work, and that has over time affected the overall performance of the organization. It has affected the productivity of the organization. That constitutes a problem. So for you to design a policy that will address the issue of late coming, you have to first of all identify the problem. The next stage after identification of problem is research. You conduct research. At the point of conducting research, you carry out a situational analysis to know what necessitated that problem. You study the regulatory frameworks that will guide the operation of your policy. You get to know the impact of your policy. You get to know the target audience of your policy. You get to know the scope of your policy. You get to know the processes, the procedures on how to initiate these policies, on how to go about the policy. The next stage after the research is for you to draft the policy. You draft the policy. At this stage, you outline the objectives, the intentions that you want to achieve. You outline the goals that the policy seeks to address. That is where you now put in your idea into pen and paper. You draft it and outline what the policy will seek to address. Thereafter, you solicit for input from relevant stakeholders in the organization. That's the next step. You seek for input from relevant stakeholders in the organization. After drafting the policy, you present it to the stakeholders in the organization. They are going to make their inputs. They are going to make their contributions. They are going to share their ideas so that you can be able to build or develop a robust policy. So after making their contributions, you review your policy. You review your policy, you make necessary adjustments in the policy based on the contributions which relevant stakeholders in the organization have made. The next step is for you to publish the policy. As you publish the policy, you make it known to members of the organization. You make it known to the target audience of the organization, the target audience which the policy is meant for. You make it known to them. You communicate these policies to them. You let them know that, okay, there's a new policy on ground seeking to address a particular problem so that they can be able to adjust in their conduct, in their operation to match with this new policy that you have developed, you have initiated. The next one is the implementation stage. At this implementation stage, you seek to match words with actions. All this while you have been talking, you have been drafting, you have been writing. So you convert what you have been saying, these policies, into action. You ensure that members of the organization comply and abide to these policies. The next one is the monitoring and evaluation stage. The monitoring and evaluation stage is the stage whereby you carry out an appraisal to know whether this policy has been able to address the major challenges that necessitated the formation of the policy. And if the policy has not been able to achieve the original intent, you get feedback from the target audience to know why the policy met a stiff resistance. And that's to enable you go back to your drawing board and make necessary adjustment and then relaunch the policy again. When you follow these steps serially, you're going to develop a robust policy and ensure that the policy is implemented. Thank you very much for your kind audience. I would like to also inform you that subsequently I'll be dropping other videos, other series on this particular course and other related courses so that you can have a broader understanding, widen your scope in topics related to management. However, endeavor to share this video, like the video, comment, subscribe to the video. Thank you.